You know, you might have noticed that people in the niche I'm in, DIY home improvement influencers, are constantly moving or buying flip houses or doing Airbnbs, and there's a reason. I want to talk in this video about how lucrative it is to invest in real estate when you are a influencer, and you don't have to be in the DIY niche. Some of this can be true for people in lifestyle or in like motherhood influencing. Stephen will help me break down the actual numbers, but we have done an investment property as landlords before I really was making money as an influencer business. There's like a whole culture around being a landlord, the 1% rule of making sure that your rent is going to cover your mortgage and maintenance expenses, etc. And you can learn about that on blogs like biggerpockets.com. But in the world of influencing, the numbers are so different, and there's a few reasons. Not only can you choose to get rent on the property, but you also get that equity built in, the appreciation of the property. On top of that, you typically get free stuff. In my niche, I'm even getting free materials like flooring, faucets, etc., lighting fixtures, in order to improve the value of the property. And in the world of influencing, you're gaining followers, which have innate value, while you improve the home. So you really can't lose with real estate as an influencer. Now, I'm not saying that one should necessarily do this as their primary residence. Like, I don't think that if you have no money to your name that you should buy up a house expecting to make money hand over fist because you're a wannabe influencer. What I'm saying is that if you already have a following, you already have some traction, and you can get free stuff from brands, real estate is such a smart investment to park that money so it will grow. And Stephen's going to talk about our second venture in real estate investing, which wasn't as cut and dry as trying to landlord like we did the first time. It was such a better experience because at this point when we bought the lake house, I already had a large following, and it was a multiplicative effect.
So let's talk about our lake house. We bought our lake house in 2021, and we bought it for $340,000. As an investment alone, I would not have purchased it. If I was just purchasing that lake house to do as an Airbnb or rent to a long-term renter, the numbers were not perfect on the property. It was well priced, but not something that you just buy for real estate. However, it had significant opportunities to flip in terms of renovating it and then having the property appreciate by more than the cost of the renovations. And we get this multiplicative effect that Melissa talked about from being an influencer. And so we purchased that lake property for $340,000. We were paid to renovate the lake property. There was not a single project in that house that cost us more money than the sponsorships we were able to secure from Welcome to the Woods. And so the kitchen that you saw renovated, the bathroom that you saw renovated, the living room that you saw renovated, the bedrooms that you saw renovated, all of those were done
net positive
while being paid. So not only did we get to earn income from Welcome to the Woods, we got to improve the value of that lake house while doing it. And today we could sell that lake house for not quite double what we paid for it, but nearly there. And Melissa was paid the entire way to renovate that property. It is one of those things where when you calculate the internal rate of return, which is a real estate term that you would use for buying and flipping a house or buying and renting a house, it goes through the roof because of the influencer multiplicative effect.
So Stephen, I want you to break down the numbers, what you think like in raw material costs we spent, and then what was our profit, and then try to quantify the growth on my channels from the lake house content, because I went up about 150,000 YouTube subs. I was at about 140,000 at the beginning of the renovation. I gained probably, again, about 150,000 followers on Instagram, and I gained like 400,000 followers on TikTok.
I think raw materials wise, we spent about $20,000 on renovations for the lake house. And that number is lower than it normally would be because Melissa is able to DIY so much of the construction herself. We also were gifted products from sponsors, so oftentimes those raw materials that we needed to buy were actually provided to us via a sponsor.
Yeah, so that 20,000 is like lumber and like plumbing, piping. Like it's very raw. Light fixtures, flooring, anything even mildly cosmetic, I was able to secure a sponsor.
The sponsorships and ad revenue that we've received so far from the lake house totals more than $100,000. We have been paid far more for the renovations Melissa made to the lake house than we spent in raw materials. That continues to grow because of the strategy that Melissa employs. She's able to recycle the content. We have videos on YouTube that still will make us $1,000 this year at least from videos that were published about the lake house. And Melissa has permanently grown her following on all 4 major platforms because of that lake house. Those subscribers are each worth a lifetime value per subscriber. And if that's, let's call it $1, that's $100,000 that she's gaining from 100,000 subscribers in the future, right? So now Melissa is permanently bigger. She has permanently more engagement. She gets permanently more views on all of her content. She is able to permanently secure more money per 1,000 views from her sponsors. And so there's a multiplicative effect there as well, right? We bought the lake house and flipped it just like a normal person would. We made money on that. And we haven't sold it yet, but we will make money when we sell. We were paid to renovate it by sponsors. We make money through ongoing advertising revenue as people find those videos on YouTube or Melissa recycles content on her major platforms. And her influencer channels are permanently larger and able to command more money from advertisers. All of these effects combined create this snowball effect that allow us to take on bigger and bigger projects, allow us more flexibility when we're budgeting for things, and just allow us to take bigger risks.
Yeah. So then the question is, why aren't we just buying up every house in the neighborhood? And the limitation here is labor. This is the part where I'm stuck with, okay, we wouldn't be making such a large profit margin if I was contracting out the work. And I'm just one person capable of, doing such and such myself. I only have 24 hours in the day, same as everybody else. So do I really want to spend every single day working a construction job away from home? Because that's ultimately what it was. The lake house was our second housing property. We were living down the street. So it's like, that's the limitation. But I want to encourage you to think outside the box about real estate investing. For the average person, real estate investing can be a very smart vehicle to grow their money, but there are so much less restrictions when it comes to when there is a plethora of ways to make money off the property besides just the internal rate of return.
And I want to throw some ideas out there for people who might not be DIY specific influencers.
Yeah.
Right? There are all sorts of types of influencers who could benefit from purchasing real estate to help accelerate their financial freedom journey. A really good example is if you're a sports influencer, right? Buying a gym where you can not only work out, but you can advertise, you can offer training either via yourself or other coaches. You can probably get products sponsored, right? If you're a sports influencer, you might be able to get treadmills, an elliptical, an arc trainer, flooring. All of that stuff is relevant to your audience, and you may be able to get that stuff sponsored to help accelerate the rate at which you're able to turn a profit on those ventures, right? So that's a sports example. A lifestyle example might be an office space, showing off how you work from home or something like that, and you instead go buy a co-working space where you're able to renovate that and get office supplies and things. I know people who have done that.
Now there is one caveat that I want to mention when it comes to this strategy of utilizing real estate, relying on sponsors to help mitigate material costs, and then improving a home's value. It does take a lot of organization and effort and emailing, pitching, etc. in order to secure sponsors. I don't want to diminish how much planning ahead of time that I had to do. When we purchased the lake house in August of 2021, it currently had renters in it, and we had about a 4-month period where they were paying our holding costs and I could prepare the renovation. I spent that entire 4 months securing sponsors and doing tons of emails and getting things ready so that we weren't just jumping in, having to afford to make the content. Does that make sense? So I just want to kind of tell you that if this is your plan, it might be wise, even during the month of transferring over the title and going through the mortgage company, etc., to really, really, really spend time getting sponsors on board. We hope that our story about the lake house and about our original journey as just regular landlords inspired you to think about real estate in the influencer world a different way.
Let us know in a comment below what you learned, or if you've ever tried this and what your experience has been. We'd love to hear from you.
Bye-bye.